Ngayon po ay bibigyan po natin ng panahon, maikling panahon. Ang pangako po sa akin ni Yusek Pamonag ay 3 minuto para po mag-present ang DSWD ng porsyento at bilang ng mga pangako nila dito sa committee ito na kanila nang natupad at patuloy na binabantayan ng Blue Ribbon Committee. Yusek Pamonag.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before anything else, may I greet and acknowledge, of course, our committee chair, Representative Jose Antonio C. Alvarado. May I also greet our Deputy Speaker, El Rey Biliperte. Sa ating mga kongresista who are joining us through Zoom at sa ating mga kababayan, isang magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. In behalf of the Secretary, Secretary Rolly Bautista, who is now in Masbate doing some DSWD-related activities, I would like to thank this committee for giving us once again this opportunity to apprise all of you and our kababayans on the most recent update on the second tranche of distribution of SAP. Joining me in this meeting are officials from DSWD, led by Yusek Ibinori and Yusek Fel Budjongan. Others will be joining us, especially the RDs, will be joining us through Zoom. My request to show the first slide. As shown on the screen, I am pleased to report that for the second tranche of Social Amelioration Program, a total amount of 81.1 billion pesos have been disbursed for the benefit of 13.5 million families or beneficiaries, and this is translated to 95% accomplishment of the program's target. And I would like to say that we are optimistic that we would be able to serve all our eligible beneficiaries in due time, as the necessary documentary requirements are now being processed for the subsequent transfer of funds to our beneficiaries through our FSPs and through direct payouts. I would like also to inform you that the DSWD is constantly coordinating with our local government units, our LGUs, our financial service providers, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Philippine National Police, and all our partners, providing many types of supports in every step we make. And we would like to assure this committee and our kababayans that the DSWD remains steadfast and committed in delivering the emergency subsidy in the soonest possible time. So having said that, Mr. Chair, if you would allow me, I would like to request Undersecretary Attorney Imineri to present the digital payment scheme which we are employing at the DSWD. With your permission, Mr. Chair.
Yusek Amy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to the honorable members of the House of Representatives and co-public servants. I would like to share to you a few slides. On the first slide, updates on the digital payment, Mr. Chair. Before I provide and discuss the updates, let me share to everyone the benefits of the digital disbursement of social payments through this slide. As can be seen there, the digitized disbursement has been aiming at a more inclusive financial integration and means for the individuals. In 2019, Mr. Chair, there were only 29% of adults owning accounts, and the rest has no means to access this option as they lack documentary requirements, lack of financial capacity, and some reported that the opening of account is not that easy, Mr. Chair. With the implementation of Tranche 2 through the financial service providers, Mr. Chair, based on the record of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the program has financially included more than 10 million new account holders coming from the country's most vulnerable. This means, Mr. Chair, that the beneficiaries can now enjoy an account where they can save, send, or receive remittances, receive future social payments directly and easily, access other services through credit, and even engage in what we call economic activity, Mr. Chair. So the beneficiaries can now finally and truly take part in what we call digital economy. So the beneficiaries through this program were able to address the barriers that 70% of Filipinos adults face, which is the reason why they don't have accounts, Mr. Chair. So with these more than 10 million account holders, we hope that there would be no other hindrances in the future should there be social amelioration program in the future, Mr. Chair, considering that they already have their existing accounts. Next slide. As you can observe, out of there are 7.8 million plus shared to the 6 financial service providers, Mr. Chair, and 6.3 million plus have already created an account. 80% of which, Mr. Chair, they've used the same to send money, buy load, bills payment, and scan to pay, and 12% of which, Mr. Chair, they opted to pay to cash out or to receive actual cash payments through remittance centers. Next slide. I'd like to share with you, Mr. Chair, that this is one of the benefits of the FSP. The RCBC, using this CARTEC, Mr. Chair, the Ayuda that was received by certain Bekia of Naik Cavite was able to convert the Ayuda into livelihood, establishing sari-sari store, Mr. Chair. And the FSPs were able to monitor as well, next slide, different beneficiaries making use of the Ayuda to convert the same to businesses, Mr. Chair. Apart from the digital payment and remittance centers, Mr. Chair, the FSPs also went out of their way to conduct house-to-house payout in coordination with our field offices, social workers, Mr. Chair. This is an example of the Ayuda that was delivered directly to the house in somewhere in Negros Occidental, Mr. Chair. Next slide. So these pictures would show, Mr. Chair, that the FSPs also made use of the mobile cash payout for areas that could not be accessed by the beneficiaries, considering that there are no other points or no other branches located specifically in GIDA areas, Mr. Chair. Next slide. So these are the beneficiaries from the PayMaya, Mr. Chair. So in effect, Mr. Chair, the FSPs were able to comply with their commitment to create accounts for 6.3 million plus beneficiaries within 24 hours, Mr. Chair. Those who opted to receive their Ayuda through actual cash payout, Mr. Chair, they just need to go to some of the outlets and partner remittance centers of the FSPs. Okay. So these are the sample of the pictures from StarPay, from Robinson's. Next slide. Robinson's Bank. They were able to monitor, Mr. Chair, how the beneficiaries use the Ayuda that they received from the financial service providers. And last, Mr. Chair, I'd like to inform the body that this is the update of the total number of the drivers that who received their Ayuda specifically in different regions, Mr. Chair. So the accomplishment rate is 69% based on the clean list which is 80% as of August 25, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Excuse me, Yusek Amy. Opo, mahaba pa po
Mr.
ba yung presentation po ninyo?
That's all, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you. Bago ko po i-recognize muli si Deputy Speaker Villapuerte, basahin ko lang sa inyo yung ilang katanungan sa comment section natin kasi naka-live po tayo ngayon sa FB page ng inyong Kuya Jonathan C. Alvarado, gayon din sa Facebook page ng House of Representatives. At si Joanna Renzi Villarreal, isang tiga Quezon, sabi, yung mga solo parent daw po ba sa Quezon hindi makakatanggap? Ano po ang sagot natin, DSWD? Lahatin na natin, yung sa lahat ng inabot ng, sa mga lugar na dapat bigyan ng SAP, yung mga solo parent daw po ba ay hindi makakatanggap o makakatanggap?
Mr. Chair, ASEC Glenda would answer that.
Asek Glenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, qualified po ang solo parent. So they are also considered
Qualified
as,
sila? Qualified?
Opo, they are considered as family. Ang hindi lang po talaga natin maisasama is yung living alone. Yung kaisa-isa.
Pero may kasama daw anak. May kasama daw anak.
Opo. Yun po yung ibang form of family, but they are also considered as family. Pagka naman po halimbawa, senior citizen, mag-asawa
Pagka
po
yung
sila.
solo parent,
Opo.
qualified.
Yes, sir, opo.
Pero pagka may kasamang ibang pamilya sa loob ng bahay, hindi qualified. Ganun po ba?
Pakiulit po, sir.
Yung solo parent, siyempre, lalaki yan o babae na may kasamang anak o mga anak. Qualified po ba sila?
Yes, qualified po sila, sir.
Okay. Ngayon, ano ang paraan para hindi sila maging qualified, para ma-disqualify sila? Meron bang nagdi-disqualify sa mga solo parent?
Dapat po wala po for as long as kasama po nila yung mga anak nila, sir. Qualified po sila.
Ano ang dapat nilang gawin kung solo parent sila, kasama sila sa mga naghihikahos na pamilya ngayong panahon ng pandemic? Ano po ang dapat gawin nila para makalapit sila sa DSWD?
Tumawag po sila sa aming hotline or magpunta po sila
Ano
sa...
po yung hotline po ninyo, ma'am? Sabihin nyo na po dito.
Saglit lang, sir. Hanapin ko. Ha?
Medyo marami naman pong manunood. Sa mga manunood, sabihin nyo na lang sa mga kasama ninyo na dyan tumawag sa hotline na yan.
Ito po yung hotline ng DSWD. 0918-912-2813 po. Ito po yung main hotline po ng DSWD.
Ulitin ko lang po, Yusek Glenda, kung tama po Asek Glenda. Ang dapat tawagan ng mga tao, tawagan po, hindi i-text. Tatawagan po.
Pwede pong tawagan, pwede din pong i-text,
Pwedeng
sir.
tawagan,
Opo.
pwedeng i-text ay 0918-912-2813.
Tama po, sir.
Maraming salamat po, Asek Glenda. Tanong naman ni ikaw na rin siguro sasagot nito. Tanong ni MJ De La Cruz, yung mga waitlisted po ba kailan makakatanggap? Kasi sa prinisend po ni Yusek Pamonag, ang nakalagay po sa bayanihan sa batas po ng bayanihan Wihilas 1 na si Deputy Speaker El Rey pa mismo ang nagdepensa ay 18 million na pamilya dapat ang makatanggap. Sa presentation niyo po kanina ay mahigit 13 million pa lang yung nakatanggap ng first tranche. At ilan po ba yung sa 4-piece naman na nakatanggap, Yusek Pamonag? Sabi mo po sa akin kanina, mga 4 million sa 4-piece ang nakatanggap.
Sa 4-piece po, Mr. Chair.
Mga
sa
4 million.
1.39 million. Ito po yung 4-piece household.
Yung 4-piece, saka yung 13 million kanina, pagka pinagsama mo,
Overall po, ang beneficiaries served namin as of yesterday is 13.5 million.
13.5. Kasama na yung 4-piece.
Yes. Yes.
Ang laki
Mr.
pa ng kulang, Yusek Pamonag.
Yes.
First tranche pa lang yan.
This is for the second tranche.
Yung first tranche po kasi tinatanong ko. Opo. Yung first tranche po, ilan ang napamigay na sa first tranche?
Sa first tranche ng 4-piece,
Maaari niyo pong tulungan si Yusek Pamonag.
Yung physical targets po natin is 4,287,676. And our physical accomplishment, yung na-serve namin, is 4,243,569.
Bakit 4 million lang po? Hindi ba dapat 18 million ng first tranche, sunod 18 million din ang second
Yes,
tranche?
I'm just referring to 4Ps.
Hindi po, yung pangkalahatan na
Yung
po, na
pangkalahatan
nabigyan
po.
sa first tranche. Opo.
Yes, our physical accomplishment is 17,651,960, which is equivalent to 98.36%.
Yung mahigit 300,000 po na hindi nabilang, ano po ba yan? Waitlisted po ba yung mga yan?
Sa first tranche po, they are ineligibles.
Ineligible? Ibig sabihin, maraming ineligible dito sa Pilipinas?
Nakikita po ito through the process of duplication na sinasagawa ng DSWD. So,
Kasi kagaya po nitong si Jenny Rose Paranal ng Santa Rosa, yung Santa Rosa siguro sa Laguna, ang sabi marami daw sa kanila, mga hindi pa rin nabibigyan sa Santa Rosa. Pero ang sasabihin natin, maraming ineligible. Pero itong sinabi ko po sa inyong pangalan kanina, yung tiga Quezon, solo parent, sabi naman ni ASEC, solo parent, eligible naman yan, basta kasama yung anak. Ano po? Kung nagtatrabaho yung solo parent, ineligible na ba yun? Kung may trabaho siya?
Sir, kung ang solo parent po ay may trabaho at yun pong hindi po siya natitigilan ng trabaho simula yung time na nagkaroon po tayo ng pandemic. And she's earning more than the regional wage subsidy, ineligible na po sila, sir.
Kung mas mataas siya sa minimum wage.
Yes, sir. Opo.
Pero kung minimum wage siya, eligible pa rin siya.
Eligible pa rin, sir.
Okay, para po maliwanag kasi maraming nagtatanong po sa atin. Yung kulang 400,000 po na hindi natin nabigyan ng first tranche, saan po napunta yun? Kasi nakalagay sa batas, at sabi ko nga po sa inyo, yung katabi ko dito siya, nagdepensa nung...
Yeah, Mr. Chair, ang sa batas kasi 18 million for 2 months. Based on the report of ni Yusek, Danny, 98.36% pa lang ang nabigyan sa first tranche. Kinumpute ko, Mr. Chair, yung 1.64% is equivalent to 295,200 families hindi pa nabigyan for the first tranche. So ang tanong natin, ano nangyari dun sa 295,000 ng first tranche?
DSWD?
ASEC Glenda would answer that question.
ASEC Glenda?
Mr. Chair, ang nakalagay po sa law is around 18 million. So it might be more, it might be less. So nag-target po kami ng 17.9.
Excuse me po.
Yeah.
Nakalagay ba around 18 million? Hindi ba sa batas 18 million families, Deputy Villapuerte?
Around, sir, around.
Hindi. Pero yung tanong ko, ma'am, when we ask you for your accomplishment, sabi nyo 98.36%, sabi ni Yusek Danny. So ang tanong namin, yung 1.64%, bakit po hindi pa nabigay for the first tranche?
ASEC Glenda?
Opo. Sir, yun pong, we're still waiting po for the submission po din ng ating mga nasa DOLE and DAR. They are also considered as part of the SAP. Yun pong ating top up for the first tranche. So they also belong. So nandun po sila sa 1% po na yun. And we find it very challenging din po with the SBWS na madami po na nakakuha na duplicate. So madami din po na nagsauli po sa amin. And hanggang ngayon po, may nagsasauli pa rin. So talagang nagka-fluctuate pa rin po, sir, yung aming target for the first tranche po. Because of those factors
Mr. Chair.
po.
Yes, Congressman Villapuerte.
Yung hotline kasi na sinabi na 0918-912-2813, denial ko po yun eh. Gusto ko lang malaman kung
Sige,
effective
pakinggan
yun eh.
nga natin kung magri-ring.
The number you have dialed is either unattended or out of coverage.
Ma'am, unattended tsaka out of coverage area. Paano naman matatawagan ng mga kababayan natin yan?
Unattended coverage area. Please try
Ayan, nakakahiya. Meron po bang ibang hotline na mas sinasagot talaga? Meron po ba tayong hotline na sinasagot talaga? Kasi nakakahiya po tong hotline natin pagka unattended, ibig sabihin patay yung telepono? Ganun ba yun? O busy? Ano pa ibig sabihin nun?
Unattended, big sabihin, patay yun.
Patay yun, di ba?
Kasi kung busy, ang tone busy, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sorry po, hindi kasi ko masyadong nagtatatawag sa
Ma'am,
telepono.
may suggestion lang ako, Mr. Chair. Sana ang hotline nyo mga 10 kasi milyon ang tumatawag dyan. Kung sabay-sabay po tatawag, baka ano po.
Yusek Pamonag, gusto mo yatang magsalita, pero hindi lang 10 kailangan natin ng hotline. Kung 100 yung hotline nyo, sana 100 yung hotline nyo. Sunod, ako pa yung pinagsabi nyo ng number kanina, nakakahiya. Oo. Huwag nyo na po tawagan yung hotline, hindi pala sumasagot yung hotline. Ano mangyayari sa atin na Yusek Pamonag?
I would want to share yung mga hotline numbers namin, Mr. Chair. I
Sige
have
po,
here some list.
Yusek Pamonag, opo.
Uh,
Sa mga nanonood, burahin nyo na po yung nauna kong sinabing hotline. Baka po sumama lang yung araw nyo. Ito na lang po ang testingin nyo, yung kay Yusek Pamonag.
sige. Basahin ko na.
Yusek Pamonag, sigurado yan na tama yung hotline na yan.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Nabudol-budol na ako ni Asik Glenda kanina eh. Asik Glenda, sige. Yung totoong hotline na, please.
Isa lang po yun, Mr. Chair. So here are the other numbers po. For Smart, 0947 482-2864. For Smart,
Pakiulit po, Asik Glenda.
for Smart po, 0947 482-2864 po.
0947 482
482-2864.
2864.
Opo. So for Globe,
dialed is either
meron po kaming
unattended
0916.
Asik Glenda, pakinggan mo naman, no? Ayan na naman.
The
Bakit
number
ba?
you have dialed is either unattended or out of coverage area.
Unattended na naman.
Ma'am, yung 0947-482-2864, yung po yung denial ko, unattended rin po, ma'am.
Ganito na lang, ma'am. Meron ba kayong Facebook page na lang na pwede silang doon na lang mag-comment sa Facebook page ninyo?
Yes, Mr.
Kasi
Chair.
mukhang marami kang number na ibibigay sa akin na ano lahat, na invalid lahat yung number o patay. Yung
Mr.
Yusek Pamonag.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you for that. May I refer this question to Director Buteng, who is in charge of the Operation Center. He is the one managing all the hotlines, and he can share his views via Zoom. May I request Director Buteng?
Pakiusap po kung ano po yung sasabihin nyo, siguraduhin nyo po na gumagana. Kasi kawawa po yung mga kababayan natin, magsasayang ng oras, pero unattended lang yung maririnig, Director. Director, abala yata si Director Yusek Pamonag.
Habang hinahanap po natin si Direktor, pwede ba kung may konting katanungan
Sige
lang?
po, Deputy Villapuerte, pero hindi pa po tayo wala pa po tayo
Iba
sa...
to, related sa presentation.
O sige po, Deputy Villapuerte.
Papasalamat tayo sa DSWD, at least na po tayo, nag-digital payment na matagal nang hinahangad ng ating kababayan, at sa tingin ko naman ay mapapabilis po yan sa disbursement. May tanong lang kasi ako na kalinawan sa Mr. Chair. Meron kasi nagcha-charge sa digital payment ng 50 pesos, 120 pesos. Pwede bang pakilinaw sa ating mga kababayan na kung ngari ang SAP nila is sa Metro Manila 8,000, alam ba nyo ba na nagcha-charge yung provider ng service fee na 120 pesos or more? At tanong ko lang, meron bang agreed rate kayo? Kasi may iba 50, may iba 120. So nabibigla ang mga ating kababayan na may nag-Facebook sa akin na kung tanungin ko raw sa inyo, kung alam ba nyo yon, ano ba ang standard rate, bakit iba-iba sa bawat probinsya po?
Yusek Neri, ididirekta ko na po sa kanila, Yusek Pamonag.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The charges are imposed when the beneficiaries decided to cash out to the partner remittance centers, Mr. Chair. But if they will use the outlets of the financial service providers and they will transact their Ayuda through online, there are no charges, Mr. Chair. What is included in the multilateral agreement, Mr. Chair, is that the remittance centers should not charge more than 50 pesos, Mr. Chair, for every cash out by way of convenience fee or cash out fees if the beneficiaries decide to cash it out from the remittance centers, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, maraming salamat na clarify nyo kasi alam ko sa aming probinsya may 50 pesos within the limit. Pero meron kasi nagte-text 120 yung sinacharge. So, i-report namin sa inyo, nag-overcharge yun at dapat i-ano nyo yun.
Deputy Speaker Villapuerte, pwede bang mahinga natin ng affidavit yung nagsabi sa iyo na nasingil ng mas mahigit sa 50 pesos?
Yes, Your Honor, we will provide. But more than that, marami naman, I'm sure tignan mo yung Facebook natin ngayon, maraming magsasabi. So ano lang sa DSWD, while your desire is to partner with this partner service provider, may nag-overcharge. So dapat either wag nyo na siya lang i-accredit, nag-aabuso, at gusto ko rin ipaalam, palagay ko 90% ng nabigyan nyo ng ayuda through cash payment gusto mag-cash out eh. Kasi kailangan nila yung pera eh, di ba? Di ba ho? So, i-assume na natin na pag nagbigay tayo ng ayuda, ika-cash out nila yan. Kasi yung iba naman talaga, hindi naman sanay sa online transaction or gagamitin sa grocery or something. Karamihan dyan, bibili ng bigas. At karamihan naman ng retailer ng bigas ay hindi naman online. So first, Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang i-point out na marami nag-overcharge na service provider. We will provide the DSWD, but wag na po kayo mag-antay sa amin na provide namin. I-check nyo na po on the ground. Marami nakikinig ngayon. Sigurado maraming tatawag sa hotline. Sana pwede na yung hotline. Then pangalawa, Mr. Chair, yung ano talaga. I-assume natin na magka-cash out talaga. So 50 pesos, I think is a reasonable rate naman. That's what, 1% ba? 1% of 5,000 more or less. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Deputy Villapuerte. At sa mga kababayan po natin na nasingil ng mas mahigit sa 50 pesos na pinapayagan ng DSWD at ng Batas ng Bayanihan, Wihilaswan, ipagbigay alam po sa pulisya o kaya sa komiting ito ang inyong sumbungan ng bayan upang agad po nating maaksyonan. DSWD, handa na ba tayong magbigay ng tunay na gumagana na numero o kaya avenue na pwede nilang pwedeng kausapin ng ating mga mamamayan para sa kanilang mga panaghoy o mga problema sa pagtanggap ng SAP, DSWD? Yusek pa mo, nakakausap na po ba natin yung si Director o cannot be reached pa rin? Pakipindot
Trying
po.
to get in touch with him.
Trying to get in touch. Mukha pong mahirap talagang tawagan pati si Director Yusek Pamonag.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Deputy Villapuerte.
Yeah, kailangan talaga public service yung hotline lang, please pakiayos. Kasi kung mismo yung head ng hotline ay hindi makontak, may problema po tayo, Mr.
Malaki,
Chair.
hindi lang po may problema tayo, napakalaki ang problema, hindi lang natin, pati ng ating mga kababayan. Kasi yung hotline dapat sinasagot. At kung hindi masagot, sana busy kasi may kinakausap na ibang tao doon sa hotline.
Mr.
Ngayon,
Chair.
yes, Deputy Villapuerte.
Yung ako po, kasama po kayo, Mr. Chair, na author po ng Bayanihan 1. At ang intention talaga is to give to at least 18 million families 2 tranches. Yung tinanong ng ating mga kasama na to, tatanungin ko lang ulit, nagsabi kasi ng second tranche ang DSWD at sinabi po nila 95% na ang na-implement, which is 13 million families. Ilan ba ho ang ano nyo? Ang target nyo na 100,000. Kinukompute ko kung 100,000 is equivalent to ilan ba ho, Yusek, Dani? Mga ano ba yan? 14 million families?
Yes, Mr.
Yusek
Chair.
Pamonag.
Overall target is 14.3 million.
Tapos, Mr. Chair, Kasi ganito no, ang sabi ng DSWD nung naghihiring tayo, yung first tranche sa informal sector, 18 million families more or less. Pero yung mga hindi na, naka-GCQ na, Mr. Chair, hindi na bibigyan ng second tranche. Tama po ba?
Yusek Pamonag, pagka GCQ na daw po ba, hindi nabibigyan ng second tranche?
Yes, yes. It should be for those who are living in ECQ areas.
Ngayon po ba, ano na lang ang naka-ECQ ngayon, Yusek Pamonag?
Wala na.
That was effective on May 1st.
Pero
Yung-
hindi nyo pa po tapos hanggang ngayon Tama po ba?
Yes, pero yun po ang ating basis, yung declaration
basihan
May
yung
1. Yes.
May 1.
Tama. Mr. Chair, ang tanong ko kasi, dahil Camarines Sur, maganda naman ang COVID control mechanism, kaya pagdating ng May 1, GCQ na kami. So hindi kami nakakuha ng second tranche. Pero ang tanong ko lang, sa batas kasi, wala naman nakalagay ECQ, GCQ, no? Anyway, ang tanong ko, sa second tranche, 13.5 million families ang 95%. Ang tanong ko, Mr. Yusek, Mr. Chair, as of May 1, ang ECQ lang naman is Metro Manila, Bulacan, Rizal, Cavite, Laguna, di ba po? And Aurora and Legazpi, yung Albay, di ba? Tama po ba? Pero bakit nakaabot sila ng 14 million kung sila lang? Buong Mindanao, buong Mindanao hindi nakatanggap ng second tranche. Sa Bisaya, walang nakatanggap ng second. Meron ba nakatanggap sa Mindanao ng second tranche?
DSWD, Yusek.
I will just read the references para makita natin who are those areas, what are those areas entitled to receive the second tranche.
Alam mo po, Yusek Pamonag, maaari nyo pong sabihin sa amin na nakatanggap, hindi nakatanggap. Siguro, Deputy Speaker Villapuerte, ibahin natin yung katanungan. Anong agency ng gobyerno ang nagre-regulate at nagsisigurado na yung sinabi ng DSWD na bilang na nakatanggap ay tama, Yusek Pamonag?
DILG and the LGUs.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Deputy Villapuerte.
yung pakilinaw lang yung sinasabi niyo as of May 1 kasi ako I have an idea. Metro Manila, 'di ba po? ECQ pa 'yan. Tama po.
Yes.
Then Bulacan, 'di ba po? Kasama po 'yan, 'di ba ho?
Yes.
Rizal, kasama po 'yan, 'di ba ho? Then yung Cavite, Laguna. Meron pa ba? Aside na hindi ko nabanggit po, sir.
Per EO number 112 dated 01 May, these are the areas that fall under ECQ. They are the NCR, Region 3, except for Aurora, Region 4A, Benguet, Pangasinan, Iloilo, Cebu Province, Bacolod City, and Davao City. In addition, there was a memo coming from ES dated 02 May declaring Albay Province and Zamboanga City as part of ECQ areas. So those are the regions or areas entitled for the second tranche. They all belong to ECQ areas.
Oo. So ito sinasabi niyo po is almost 14 million families na po to? Hindi, kasi yung-
DSWD?
Yes.
Hindi, kasi yung Albay, while they are lucky, they are a neighboring province from Camarines Sur gugulat lang ako, katabi namin sila nakakuha ng second tranche, yung amin hindi. Ano ba ang pagkakaiba? Dahil nag-request ba sila? Kaya nagkaroon ng EO? Nakiusap ba sila? Ganun ba yon? Pwedeng mapakiusapan ba? Kasi bakit sila, anong pagkakaiba nila sa amin? Pareho naman kaming pareho kaming lugar. Pareho kami sa Bicol.
DSWD?
Yes, so for the second tranche, only those who belong to the ECQ, it's very clear. However, I would want to say that meron tayong 5 million waitlisted in the first tranche na doon natin sila binayaran sa second tranche. And ang coverage po nito is nationwide. So, yung mga waitlisted na yan. So, kahit hindi ka even though you are not residing under the ECQ, but you are part of wait-listed, so you will receive social amelioration program.
Oh, malinaw. So, mga 9 million lang more or less. Pero yun lang gusto ko i-point out kasi tinatanong ng kababayan ko bakit ang albay. Palagay ko kasi yung albay, GCQ, nag-request sila mag-ECQ. So, dapat pala nag-request na lang kami mag-ECQ para nakakuha kami. Kasi pareho lang yung kondisyon namin eh. Parang ayaw yata nilang mag-open kaya nag-ECQ sila. Yun yata ang nangyari kaya nasama po sila. Ganun ba ho?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Anyway, ang tanong ko na lang po, kailan po matatapos yung 100% ng second tranche po as mentioned? Kasi sinabi po nyo dito sa report, 13.5 million, 95%. Mr. Chair, maybe para malinawagan ng ating kababayan.
DSWD?
Yes, we are now at 95% completion rate of our target. We would have wanted to complete or finish the distribution of SAP at the soonest time. But there are also some factors beyond the DSWD control. And I would like to mention some, like the SAC uploading and the revalidations. Ito po, LGUs po ang gumagawa nito, yung pag-upload ng SAC. Dapat maintindihan po natin, during the first tranche, they have to complete the process, which starts yung pagbibigay ng ayuda, followed by liquidations, and the last steps is, i-upload po itong list of paid benes sa system ng DSWD. And I would like to mention that at this time, there are still 97,395 na for uploading pa po ng mga LGUs sa DSWD system. Also, for revalidations, ito po yung mga binalik ng DSWD sa ating mga LGUs for further revalidations. Probably walang cell number or walang middle names. There are more or less 154,396 beneficiaries na for revalidation pa, binabalidate po ito ng LGUs. That is why nag-request po ang ibang LGUs natin for another extension. We have discussed this already with Secretary and nagbigay po siya ng extension for the LGUs, a week extension to complete the uploading and revalidation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Meron nag-Facebook dito. Sa ML Luwiler, aside sa 50 pesos, nag-charge po sila ng 100 sa insurance at nagbabawas pa ng 50 pesos sa raffle ticket. Isang nag-message. So, pa-check po nyo yung, yung provider na ML Luwiler. Pa-verify nyo kung tama po itong statement na to. 50 pesos ang charge plus 50 pesos sa raffle ticket plus may insurance pa raw na 100. So, binabawasan ng 200. So, technically, illegal po to, di ba?
Deputy Villapuerte, tiga saan yung nag-message sa atin?
Nag-message po sa natin sa Facebook na live
Nakikinig po
streaming.
may mga tiga NBI po ba dito? Ayan, nakikinig po yung mga kasama natin sa NBI. Sana po ay maimbestigahan kagad yung M. Luwelier. Opo. At nakapost naman doon sa FB page ng Congress. Pwede po kayo makipag-ugnayan doon sa nag-comment. NBI?
Ang nag-message si Miss Evelyn Gramahe.
Message ni Miss Evelyn Gramahe. Maaari po bang pakiimbestigahan po yung M. Luwelier? Mukhang Poncha po yung M. Luwelier na yan. At ginagamit natin na remittance at sobrang singil. NBI?
Yes, sure, Your Honor. We are going to request our main office. Your Honor, I am from Bulacan District Office.
Opo. Aking kalalawigan.
Yes.
At maaari po bang kayo na lang po ang kumontak sa main office ng NBI upang mai-report po sa amin within the week kung ano po yung pangyayari, yung kakaibang pangyayari sa M. Luwelier o ito ba'y pangkaraniwan na nangyayari. At kung ito po hindi nararapat, inaasahan po namin nagagalaw ang NBI. At magre-report kayo ng positibong aksyon para dito.
Will do, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat po. Deputy Villafuerte?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, ano naman, I know DSWD is working hard. Siguro tulungan na lang natin na lalong mapabilis itong sistema. The good news naman, at least may digital payment na at gumaganda naman ang takbo. But gusto ko lang i-reiterate, talagang ang hinain ng mga kababayan natin talaga na sana matapos na po itong first and second tranche. Alam ko naman hirap na rin ng DSWD and we thank you for your commitment na palaging nag-a-attend ng hearing. Salamat, Mr. Chair.